It is your Classic Metal Show right here on the ClassicMetalShow.com. That is Sammy Hagar right there with Give to Live. And stellar interview, Mr. Aiken.
Thanks. Tough topic. Definitely not, like I just said in the chat room, it's not always tits and pussy on this show. Mostly.
I thought it was. I could have swore it was because I was just writing the little, little segment that you asked me to write for your book.
Oh, okay.
I was sitting here writing this, and I thought the only words that come to mind when it comes to Chris Aiken and my relationship with you is tits and pussy. Tits and pussy.
Tits, pussy, pussy, tits, pussy,
well, that's exactly how it reads, too. I hope people can understand what it means when I turn that in.
I'm sure they'll get it.
Well, I will. I think in the history of the Classic Metal Show, that was probably the longest interview ever on the show.
Was it really?
I'm pretty sure. We've had some long interviews. We've had Eric Martin,
Eric Martin comes right to mind.
Yeah, he's talked a lot, but that interview clocked in at an hour and 20 minutes.
Oof! Wow.
So Eric Martin has come close. He's come in at 70 minutes.
Okay.
So that hour and 10 minutes. So I think that's the longest interview of the CMS history.
Well, you know what, man? I mean, it's a tough topic, and I really, you know me, dude. I'm not cause guy. I'm never a guy that ever gets into a cause and is like, oh, you got to fucking support blah 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 blah. But because I could relate to it, with some of the shit that I've been through in the past. It just pissed me off, hearing how this thing was going on. And, I honestly, when I started doing the interview, like everything, Wardlaw was the one that turned me on to this, to David. And, because he did an interview with him and he talked for like 2.5 hours.
Right.
But, I knew that my first thought was try and find a way to keep it down to like 20 minutes, 25 minutes. And then as I started talking to him, it's like, you know what? I'm going to fucking put it all out there because there's a lot of pieces to it. And I honestly don't, as long as it was, I don't think that it was like repetitive or, that he didn't have anything to say. I mean, he was making very clear points about just how fucked it is, that what they're going through. It's just fucked.
Well, I agree with that. And I liked his candor and his honesty and, the fact that he was willing to share his struggles, not in a way like poor me, or feel sorry for me. It's just like, this is what we've done. This is what we've gone through. This is what we've had to do to achieve what we've had to achieve, but not in, oh, poor us. We had to move out of our house and we had to go to Southern California and we were, we're struggling with money because this is really expensive. He didn't go down that road. He just went, this is what we've done. And the reason we've done this is because of this. And he didn't sound like down in the mouth or, feel sorry for us or anything. He was very candid about it. And I think what he did there was he was very clear that we understand other people's struggles, and as you prefaced it at the early part of the interview, that people who are in the limelight as he's been, as far as a performer is concerned, these guys are real people too.
Sure, and they go through real stuff, and clearly 35 years of making great music doesn't mean dick to the fucking corporate cocksuckers that control this shit.
Right, exactly.
And that's the part that just and I mean, I'll say this right out front. I know for a fact that I dodged a question, and I dodged it on purpose before anybody calls me and asks me about it or emails or whatever. I definitely dodged the question of why isn't Sammy just writing you a check?
And I asked you the question myself.
Right. And I told you the answer. I won't tell it on the air. David, I did ask him it off the air, and he gave me a reason, and it's fine. But I purposely didn't do that because I don't want to cause this guy a further problem.
Yeah, why would you?
And ultimately, no matter what he says, is going to cause him a further problem.
Right.
You know, I mean, he's been employed by one guy for his whole life, Sammy Hagar. Last thing in the world he needs to do is get into a fucking public discussion of any kind about how Sammy spends his money.
Right.
So that's why I didn't go there. So save it, peeps.
I hear you, man.
You know, but no, I mean, I will say, you know, I liked going out to the petition and seeing a bunch of CMS people signing it. That's cool. You know, and by all means, please sign it. You know, again, it doesn't cost anything. Nothing. Just 3 seconds of your time to sign this shit. And, you know, help the guy out. Help him get the fucking medicine that he needs.
Right.
It's ridiculous. Look, I know I play hard-ass guy on the show. You know, I get that. But, man, oh, man, how can anyone justify, here's a medicine, it could possibly help people. It's helping 3 out of every 10 people. If it was baseball, it'd be a fucking Hall of Famer. But since it's fucking medicine, we're going to shut it down. We're not going to let those people, we're not going to let this person that can get potentially better, get better. It's astounding. But yet they'll tell us about how we're such a fucking compassionate people, and that's why we need Obamacare, and everybody needs their fucking health insurance. Fuck off. Why don't you start showing some of that compassion with this one fucking story?
Right.
Mr. fucking President, scribble your name on a piece of paper and make it happen, you fuck. Jesus.
Now, how do you really feel?
I hate that cocksucker, man. And stories like this are one of the reasons. And let's face it, he doesn't know nothing about it. To be fair, I shouldn't take it out on that guy. But the head of the FDA or whatever minions at the FDA, if this was their fucking sister, you better believe the fucking dateline would have been waived, and their sister would be on this fucking trial.
Yeah, I don't get the dateline stuff.
Yeah, who gives a fuck when it was? Well, I'm going to assume that because they're doing a report, and the report is from here to there. You know, that's why they're setting a dateline. They're saying, well, you didn't fall within the trial, so we can't get valuable statistics out of it.
Who cares?
Who gives a fuck?
Well, I was talking to somebody this week.
Yeah.
And they were telling me about their company health care.
Mm-hmm.
And they were telling me that, well, I have to sign up by November 25th or something like that, or else I can't sign up until next year at the same time.
Right.
And I go, well, what if they hire somebody on December 1st and after 90 days they get their health care? Do they get to sign up or do they have to wait till the 25th? No, after 90 days, they get to sign up.
Yeah.
So what difference does it make?
Mm-hmm. Doesn't make any.
Why does everybody have to wait until the sign-up period? If they can sign up people through the year as new hires or whatever the case may be, what difference does it make?
Yeah, it makes no difference. It's just red tape. You know, how about you just, if your goal is to truly help people, then fucking help them.
Right.
You know, it's that kind of simple. Guess what? No matter when people sign up, whether it's on the 1st or the 25th, guess what? My fucking tax is allegedly still going to pay for this fucking shit. You know, so let them sign up.
Right. Who cares if it's not within a certain time period? Who cares?
Yeah, I don't. I know that. By the way, I was curious. Are you going to go out to that fucking shit site and sign up?
Absolutely not.
I'm not either.
I adjusted my W-4 to where I owe no taxes.
Oh, nice.
I did.
So that you don't have to pay.
I took 11 exemptions. I did.
11.
I did.
That's the way to do it, man. And just let that fucking fine run. Who gives a fuck?
Right.
They can't force you to pay it.
Exactly.
So now I'm doing the same exact thing, dude. I mean, obviously I'm self-employed, so, you know, I always am going to pay. So I just won't pay that fine. I'm not signing up for their fucking health care. They can eat a dick. And I'm not going to pay a penalty for the privilege of not having health insurance.
Right.
Fuck off.
That's what I did. I went and reconfigured my W-4 a week ago and turned it in and took 11 exemptions.
Good. Dude, that's the best way. I hope more people do that.
Yep. So screw those guys.
Yeah. I loved it when I saw, and you know they're going to try and adjust it at some point, but I love the fact that they fucked up to where they can't fine you. They can't sue you. They can't take a lien on any of your property. All they can do is stop you from getting a refund. You know what? I haven't seen a refund in 8 fucking years. So fuck off. I won't pay it. Sure. I will pay, I mean, as you know, I'm in the situation now where I'm getting all my taxes fixed from previous years. And believe me, I'm going to pay everything except that fucking $1,500 or $2,000 that they want me to pay.
Right.
For the privilege of not having health care. I'm going to fucking pay $2,000 to not have health care? Right. Suck my dick.
Right. No, I don't have 11 dependents, psycho postman, but that's what it takes to bring my federal to zero.
Yeah. How did you figure that out, by the way?
I did it on the IRS website. They give you a calculator over there, and they calculate what your income is and what you're paying in federal, and it maximizes your take-home pay to where you break even at the end. So
and I know nothing about the IRS really, but how do they know? I mean, how do you don't have to justify that? I guess you don't have to justify 11 exemptions.
No, it tells you how many to take.
I thought you were only allowed to take like one for yourself and one for each.
No. If you do itemized tax deductions,
okay,
like for your house, your house interest and your, any kind of, say you have investments to where you get some kind of dividend and, this and that, it asks you all those questions. They ask you to get your last year's tax return.
Okay.
What you paid in, what was your house interest, what are you paying in taxes, what's your current, federal, what are they deducting from your current paycheck federally? Mm-hmm. And then they tell you, well, if you want to do a break-even thing where you don't pay in too much or you don't take out too much, they tell you how many deductions to take.
I swear, I'll bet you most people have no idea about that.
Yeah.
I didn't. I always did it just the way, I always did it one way.
They have a calculator right on IRS.gov.
Had no idea.
Yeah.
I always just did my fucking form and just it said how many. It said put one for you, put one for your wife, put one for each kid, and I always did five deductions.
Yeah,
that's because that's what I didn't know you could do more.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Had no idea. I would have been doing that forever.
Yep. But see, people like that refund.
Yeah, not me. Fuck that.
Yeah, but a lot of people like that refund because how many people do you know in, February, March, April go, man, I can't wait to get my tax refund because I'm going to go out and buy a new stereo or I'm going to go put a new down payment on a car or whatever,
That's no wonder February's Black History Month.
Sure. Sure.
It's nigger rich time.
Wow. Racist.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
So. Dude, I know, and I never understood that because I always knew this. I always knew that if you got a refund, you got less than if you kept your money. There's a math to that, and there's something like you get like 5% less than you would have kept.
Right.
If you keep it all, you make 5% more money.
Yeah, exactly.
So I always tried to not, I always did the full or did the full thing so that I could give it all now and have to pay at the end.
Right.
That's what I always wanted to do was pay.
Sure.
Because I was paying less than, ultimately I would be paying. It just doesn't feel like less when you're scribbling off a check for $500 or whatever, but it really is less.
Yep.
I don't know. Fucking government, fucking bunch of scumbags.
Well, so not only is the CMS funny and fun, but it's informative too.
Yeah, every once in a while. Boy, we're off to a funny night tonight. We're talking about cancer and taxes.
Nice.
Death
and taxes.
Death and taxes.
Death and taxes. Yep.
All right, so let's get Foreclosure of a Dream queued up. And
right.
Oh, shit.
Exactly.